All righty. Happy Friday. And it is funny because the Scooby Life is already here and says good morning and happy Friday. So you beat me to it. Hey, so just wanted to say it's been a great week. It really has. Just all the way around. It's been a good week. We had our follow-up call for our niche properties class yesterday, which was really good. Really good, actually. It was about 2 hours long, answered a ton of great questions, and also dug into just some random niches that we were talking about and kind of digging through a little bit. So a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I have to be honest. But today, what we're going to talk about is why my content is not ranking in Google. So that is the topic of our jam session. We will kick that off here in a few minutes. We'll let this get out there and let the feed get notifying anyone that wants to join us live. Of course, the replay is always there. So if you're watching this on the replay, thank you for watching the replay. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about why my content is not ranking. And I had this question come in yesterday, and it was from one of our students who actually started already publishing content about 6 months ago on a different site and wanted to know, why is my content not ranking yet? And there's a few different reasons on why that could be. And we're going to discuss that. And I have an example I want to share with you on really why a lot of times you have to give it time. And sometimes it's more than 6 months. And if you look at a piece of content and after 6 months, it's not getting any traffic, we can look at it and go, what's going on here? And then if everything checks all the boxes, then we can decide, okay, we need to do something, or we just let it go. And we just create another piece of content. Okay. Because it is a numbers game. It totally is a numbers game. What's up, Salama? Good morning. All right, cool. So let's kick this thing off and we will get rocking and rolling. And then you guys can get on with your weekend or your week, whatever you're doing. Alejandro, what's up? Thanks for the apple, by the way. And yes, thank you. These are all the emojis that Alejandro puts up there. He puts an apple emoji with glasses, making me look smart, and a fist bump. So I think we covered them all. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and kick this thing off officially. If you guys have any questions for me, drop them in the comments. And I should probably mention this though. Before I do, I need to update this though. So bear with me here for a second. I'm going to do something on the fly and see if I can do this. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Let me save that. And then let me pop that up. Bammo, there you go. BuildNicheProperties.com. That is our official link and domain that I am sending people to our niche properties class that is now available. So we officially made that available yesterday to the public. So we are officially ready to take on new students. So if you have not yet joined us and you want to, head on over to buildnicheproperties.com. It should take you over to the page where you can get more information on that. All right. So with that being said, let's get rocking and rolling. Here we go. I'm going to take that down now. There we go. Do I have my jam session? Yeah, I do. Look at that. Man, everything's kind of working good today. All right, here we go. All right, guys, welcome back to another Friday jam session. I am fired up because, well, we're going to talk once again about some niche properties stuff. Man, oh man, I'm telling you what, I am loving this whole model. And I want to share a story with you that happened to me yesterday. I got a text message from someone that is managing one of my only at this point Airbnbs. Okay. And I'm going to give you a little bit on that one. And I'll give you the story on that, but it kind of blew me away at those numbers. And it's tempting to want to do another Airbnb. But there's reasons why I'm not going to do that right now. And I'm actually going to be focusing my energy and my attention on building more niche properties. And actually I have my 5th one that we're about ready to break ground. You get the reference, like building, like real estate, structures, break ground means dig. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be talking about on today's episode here, is really about content and why it might not be ranking after a certain period of time. And what is that period of time? So that's what we're going to talk about, because I get that question a lot. Scott, why is my content not ranking? I've been publishing now for 3 months, 6 months, and it's not ranking. I'm not getting any traffic yet. So what do we do? So we're going to address that question, but let me share this quick little story with you. So yesterday, I couldn't have planned this any better either, because it actually helped me write my email today. So I wrote my email this morning. You guys know, if you're on my email list, every Friday morning, I send out an email, and I'm always usually wanting to share something on a Friday email, something that's happened or something that's coming up and something that can turn into a lesson. And so today it just worked out perfectly. So yesterday I get a text message, and actually I'm going to open up my phone here real quick so I can remember exactly what it was, but it was from the guy that got me into the whole Airbnb thing. And he was reporting on my property, and he does this every now and then. So what he did first was he sent me a long review of someone that posted on there, on their site about my property. And it was an amazing review. They said that it's been the best experience that they've had in vacation rentals. They haven't been able to take a vacation in like 18 months because they're first responders. And it was let's see, my husband, along with our 2 sons, their wives, and 3 dogs, spent 2 weeks at the lake house and gladly do it again. The quality care and maintenance of the house was outstanding. Thank you all for much needed hassle-free restful vacation ever. And then he sends me that, and he says, "Making dreams, mate." He's Australian. So, and he sends a little smiley face. And then he sends me a screenshot. And that screenshot was basically what the property has grossed as of right now and what it was last year. And so the screenshot, which you guys can't see it, but I'll read it to you. It was just basically in his analytics. And year to date, that property has done $207,277. Okay, grossed. That's an Airbnb. It's a lake house, and it's doing very well. Last year, okay, it did 165,000. Okay, and that was total. So it's already up, and we still got a lot of this year left. So he said, well up on last year too, $207,000 and counting. And then he sends me a little emoji with a wink with a kiss. And I go, love it. Hope it keeps growing. And then he says, build me more, mate. Your ROI is strong. So what he wants me to do is do another one. And so, and I went back and forth with him a little bit. And I said to him, I said, man, the market is just so crazy high right now. Like, to buy a property right now on the lake, it's going to, minimum is going to be $1 million. And then secondly, to remodel it, it's going to cost the remodeling cost. And if it was done 2 years ago, it would have been a lot less because construction costs are way up. Construction workers are way up. So everything's up. Everything's up. And he's like, yeah, but you still make your money. And I'm like, yeah, but it's going to take $500,000 to even just get one of these things ready, right? Down payment, your remodeling costs, all of that stuff. And then 6 months without having any tenants in there or any renters, it's $500,000 minimum. And I'm like, that's awesome that the property's doing great, but I'm not wanting to do one right now. But what I do want to do is more of these niche properties because they are the exact same concept. That's what I love about this. It's like real estate. People understand real estate. They like buy a property, fix it up, flip it, or rent it and get your cash flow, right? And for the most part, on a typical Airbnb, you are going to get more than if you just rent the house out. I promise, guys, we're going to get into the discussion today, but I just wanted to share this with you because it makes a lot of sense and you'll understand it. So if you have an Airbnb and let's say you had that same house, it was a single family home, and you're like, I'm going to rent this thing out for $1,700 a month. If you did an Airbnb, if your market was equipped for Airbnb or wanted Airbnb, because some areas they don't need it. You aren't near a certain hotspot or whatever. And so you aren't going to be rented all the time. You can get more per night, right? So you would do better if it was an Airbnb in an area that was built for an Airbnb market. Okay. So instead of getting 1,700, you might make 3,000 or gross 3,000 or maybe even 5,000 if you charge a couple $100 a night, $300 a night, whatever. Now on my lake property, he's getting crazy numbers. Like I think the minimum to stay there is 500 a night. And I think the most that he's charged a night is like 1,500. It's absolutely insane. It's bonkers, but it's there, right? But my point is, if you want to do even just a standard Airbnb right now, the property cost is way high. You have to still refurbish it, and you still got to get it listed so that way there people are going to find it. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Building a niche property, I'm going to do my land surveying, as I call it. I'm going to find the niche, and I'm going to go ahead and see how long I think I could get this thing up to net $1,000, and I might only invest 15 grand. With content, I don't even have to create the content. If I invested $15,000 or even $20,000 and I got that thing to $1,000 or $2,000 a month, is that a good investment of that money? 100%. Because the other thing I can do here is I can take that. Let's say I get it to $1,000 a month net. I'm going to get a 30x minimum on that. So I can sell it for 30, sometimes 40x, $40,000, $30,000 to $40,000. So I could take that. Let's say it took, 2 years to do. I invested 20 grand. I did cash out. I'm still making money in the meantime, so it didn't really cost me full 20. But let's say it did. I would still make $20,000 on that initial investment, which you don't get that in the real estate market unless you find a house, fix it up, flip it in a good area. But you still have all that work. So there's my little rant on that. But that's what happened yesterday. So I was like, man, I'd love to do another one of those. But man, I don't want to drop 500K right now. So what could I do? I want to build some more niche properties. So I actually have one that I am ready to start building, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to test something. We actually going to buy a expired domain, and I'm not going to talk all about the benefits of that, but we're going to test that. And then we're going to build the site on that. I'm actually going to use a company to basically do all of the work pretty much. And I'm just going to pay for it. And we're going to see what happens. And I'm going to invest, I think right out of the gate, it's going to cost me about 9 grand. But you know what? I could do another Airbnb, cost 500 grand, or even if you do a smaller deal, 100 grand, or I can do this right here. And I'm going to take 9 grand and I'm going to plug in there. I know that I've done my research. I know that there's potential there. And I know that if I get it up to at least 30,000, 50,000 page views, I'm going to make $1,000 a month. So that's what we're doing. But anyway, let's talk now about this content thing. Okay. Because this whole thing only works if you rank for content on your site and you bring traffic, over. And that's really all that I'm looking for. I'm looking for, can I create content that brings in traffic that I could start using display ads? That's to me, that's the holy grail for me. Now we can build that out and add digital products if we want to scale it, make it into a brand. We could do someone else's digital products. We could do bigger physical products. We can do all kinds of things if we want to, or we can keep it very passive and just use display ads and maybe some affiliate offers. Okay. And keep it really simple. That's kind of what I'm doing here. And at this time. So let's talk about this. If you have posted content, and the question always is like, okay, the very first thing that I'm going to look at, if you come to me and you go, Scott, I posted 50 articles. And I did it over 6 months, and you're like, and I'm not getting that much traffic yet. Well, the first thing you need to understand is this. How many pieces of content did you post your first month? That's the only content that I'm going to be looking at to see if it's ranking. Okay. Because what people think is they go, yeah, but I got more content on there now. It should give me more opportunities. It will. But if you just posted 4 articles on your website today, you got to wait 6 months. You don't have to wait. Like I have an article that we just wrote on a fairly new site, and I just looked at it this morning because I was curious, and it's ranking on page 2 already for a pretty good keyword, long tail, and it's only been like 2 weeks. Okay. Doesn't happen all the time, but we're already ranking on page 2, not getting any traffic because it's on page 2, but eventually it'll move to page 1. And I believe it will. So the first thing we have to look at is time, right? How much time have you given it? Okay. And 6 months to me is like, before you start analyzing anything, it's got to be like 6 months. Okay. Now, some people are like, Scott, but I want quicker. Listen, if you purchase a rental property, do you think that you're going to make money in 6 months on that rental property? Probably not. If you buy a house, fix it up, and flip it, you could make that money in 6 months, but you got to go through and buy the house and get the mortgage and get all the inspections and do the remodel and do the construction and make sure that everything lines up, and then make sure when you're ready to sell it, it sells. You got all that to work with, right? So there's pros and cons to everything. And I'm not saying this is like, the solution to everything, but what I'm saying is it's got my interest, and this is what I'm going in on right now. Okay. And it's fun. So we need to look at that first. How old is the content? Now, if you tell me, Scott, there's 10 articles, they're on the site and they are not ranking, they're indexed, but they're like in the 80th position. So then what I got to do is I got to look at your title of your post. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. And that is, they don't write the article with the search intent long tail keyword. Okay. It would be like, they would write something like colorful flowers that make me happy. Do you think anybody is searching for that? So we need to look at the search. Instead, it would be like, what type of flowers make you feel happier, right? Or what type of flower used in weddings? What type of flower smells the best? What type of flower used for, I don't know, proms? I don't know. I'm making stuff up. You get where I'm going, right? It's like you're asking questions that are being asked on Google, not white flowers make me feel good. That's not a search intent. Okay. So that's the thing. People need to understand, you have to write, and really your title is your most important thing. Your title has to be the search intent keyword that you're trying to rank for. So that's the biggest mistake I see people making. They're not doing that properly. Okay. So number one, not waiting long enough. And number two, they're not making that title with the search intent, or they're not creating that title with the search intent. Okay. And then the third thing is they're just looking so narrow at like a few articles that they've written. And I'm using 50 as an example. 50 is a good chunk of articles. But the thing is, the more content you're creating, the more opportunities you get to rank for all of these variations, right? You might look at a keyword, a long tail, and go, oh, that keyword, if I rank, Ubersuggest says that I'm going to get 100 visitors. And you're like, great, that would be cool. If I get 100 visitors from that article, I'd be happy. But you'll find out that because it's a long tail, and because the way that you write your content, which is what we teach inside of Niche Properties very extensively, is you want those sub headings, those sub areas, those subtitles to also be stuff that is being searched for, right? And one way that we do this is we type in the keyword, we look down, people also search for 5 things. Those become subtitles. Very simple. So now you might rank for one of those subtitles. So now that article that you thought was only going to get 100 visitors per month now gets 500 or 1,000. But the other thing is, it might take longer than 6 months. And here's a perfect example. I noticed probably in the past 6 to 8 weeks, there's one article on one of our sites that it's the top one now. It's never been there. It's just the top. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. So then I do a little bit of digging, and I go, wow, that thing is getting a good amount of traffic. I wonder how old that post is. So I went back and looked how old the post is. The post is right now probably about 1.5 years old. And I looked at the graph. The first 13 months, it didn't do anything. I think it started, it might have got like 5 visitors, and then it would get 0, and then maybe, 6, and then 2, and it was just doing that for a long time. And then for some reason, it got picked up and started getting moved up in the ranks. It could have been one of the Google updates and they got rid of some of the rankings that they gave other people and they gave the rankings to us. I don't know. But that page right now, that post is getting anywhere from 150 to 250 people a day from that one post. But if I would have looked at that in 6 months, I'm like, that's a dud. It ain't working. So my advice to anyone is stop looking at the content so closely and so like in a compressed time, and just continue to post content. Like that is, to me, that is the solution. But also making sure that that content is answering a question, or that is filling a search that's being searched for by Google or from Google or in Google, right? So make sure that you do that, and then just continue to create content. And the more content that you keep producing, the more opportunities that you're putting out there that will eventually come back to you. Okay. Now, I'm not saying don't look at something in 6 months. I'm saying look at it if you want to. And if you see stuff that's, like starting to rank, it's like, oh, wow, that's on page 2. It's almost on page 1. You can go look at that if you want and go, is there something I can do to improve that? Maybe, but I wouldn't touch it for the first 6 months. And then after that, a lot of times I don't even look at it unless we do an audit. We'll do like an audit and we'll look at it and go, okay, there's some content here that's been out there for like 6 to 8 months. It's within striking distance. It's on a keyword that says it gets a lot of searches. I say a lot, like 1,000 plus. Maybe I want to look at that and go, maybe I can improve that. Maybe I can add some more images, or maybe I'll look at the competition and see why they're ranking over me. Is there something that we could do to improve that piece of content? And then it might be worth it to tweak it a little bit, but not spend days on it. Okay. So just to kind of repeat what I said, the first thing is time. We got to give it time. Okay. And also know that if you posted 50 articles, only 10 of those might've been posted the first month. So that's really the only ones that are 6 months old. Okay. The second thing is making sure that the title of the post is search intent. Okay. And then the third thing is making sure that you are doing what you can to continue to post content. Like, don't just look at that, but you have to give it time, like I said in the beginning, and then just keep on the schedule of producing content, right? And just keep finding those questions and keep answering those questions on the site. And that's it. Like that's what I would do. So I would not panic, but I would look at it and go, I better look at my stuff and make sure that my titles that I'm putting in there are search intent. All right. And that's what I would do. So that is the topic of today. That is what my answer would be and my advice would be. But now what we're going to do, because we are in a jam session and this is live, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, it's not live, but you're listening to it. We're going to go ahead and see if we have any questions. And if we do, we're going to answer them. If not, we're going to go ahead and rock and roll on out of here. Okay. So here we go. What's up, Kay? All right. How important is it to pay for Ubersuggest, or can you get away with the free version initially? Listen, here's the way I look at it. You're building a house. You can borrow someone's shovel and only they'll let you use it for an hour, or you can take that same, or you can say, you know what, I'm going to buy my own so I can use it all the time. That's kind of my attitude, right? And if we're building something and we're investing in something, I would make that investment. If I am buying a house, I'm not going to say, can I do and it's it's an investment. I'm going to get it inspected. And if I want to cut corners, could I, have someone that's not really a professional, but yet they'll do it for half price? Do I really want to do that on an investment property that I want to make sure everything is right? The tools make the job. And I'm not saying you got to have a whole bunch of tools in the very beginning. The only tool, and I'm not even an affiliate for Ubersuggest because he doesn't have an affiliate program. I would say that would be my first investment in a tool would be that. So let's see here. Do you use Ubersuggest to check for keyword ranks for newly written articles? So Kay, I'm not looking at Ubersuggest necessarily to look at the stuff that I recently posted. Again, I don't usually look at that for 4 to 6 months. Okay. And then what I do is I don't go back to articles I've written. What I'll do is I will look at the content that's indexed through Ubersuggest as a glance. I'll just take a glance at it and I'll see what ones are indexed and that are on page 1 or even page 2. And then I look at the search volume that it's reporting and I'm saying, I might want to work on that one. That's the extent of it. I don't spend a lot of time there. I spend more time doing my keyword research and then getting my articles written. Like that's the time I spend on that. Okay. At what point do you add the product post in the mix? Do you need traffic to start posting product posts? No, you don't need traffic, but I would really focus on a lot of questions in the beginning. And then I would start to kind of bring some of those in. Now, some of the questions could be around a product, right? Even though it's a question-based post doesn't mean you can't put a product link in there. It just means that people that are searching for best bass fishing lure, they're looking for fishing lures. We know that. They want to know what the best one is, right? Or other people are like, what's the best way to catch bass in a pond? It's probably with a fishing lure, and you're probably going to you're going to link out to some product, right? It's just not, that post isn't dedicated to the product. So I would try to mix those two together that way. So you're still doing the question-based posts, but you can do product posts at the same time if you want to. But I'm generally going to do, if I'm only posting 4 times or 4 different articles, it's going to be 1 product-based, 3 questions. If I'm doing 10 question posts, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 of them would be it. But what I'm doing right now, we're building out a new site and I'm getting ready to do another one. But this one here, I just went through, I got like 30 questions, and those questions we're going to just add them to the site. The product, I'm more interested, to be quite honest with you, I'm more interested in the display money than I am on the affiliate stuff. Because if you're doing affiliate stuff through Amazon, number one, the percentage is so low. And also it's very hit or miss. With a display, if I got the traffic, display ads are going to display, going to make money just from them being displayed. So that's how I'm looking at it. Like a lot of people in the past have built sites just as an affiliate site, and actually now they're being dinged for that. And now they're trying to backfill with some question-based type posts. So that way there it's more informational. So I would say I wouldn't worry about the product stuff in the very beginning. If you want to sprinkle a few in there, fine, but I would focus on those questions. Let's see here. Are you posting how to review Google Analytics and what to look for after 6 months in the niche property workshop? Yes, we will be absolutely doing that. And so what I will do, and Salome, you can always send us an email as a reminder on that. But once again, I want anyone right now that is listening to this or watching this, don't get too far ahead of yourself. If I show you how to do that right now, is that going to help you right now? Probably not. You'll know how to do it, but you don't need to know how to do that yet. If we're building a house, we need to focus on the foundation, building the walls, right? I mean, first thing we got to do is survey the land and make sure that the land is gonna be good for a house, right? Or that area is going to be good for a rental. We don't have to worry about analytics and we don't have to worry about that stuff. We'll get to that. And then yes, at that point, that will be there. So we have to get you content out there so we have stuff to look at in 6 months, right? But to answer your question, yes, we will be doing that. How would you start making money in the 4th quarter if you were restarting? So I think this is a question of like, how would you make money right now very, very quickly? So that way maybe you can fund this or you can get money coming in the door. There's a couple things. If we're talking only online, then I think the quickest way to do it is you're going to buy stuff and flip it on eBay. Like, I think that's going to be your quickest way. You can set up an Etsy shop if you want to, but again, that's still going to take time. You got to put up all the listings. You got to do all this stuff. So there's still time invested there. But I would think, honestly, like, find stuff at, a garage sale, yard sale, and start flipping that stuff. And again, it's going to take time away from maybe building your niche properties, because now what you're trying to do is shortcut what you can do in the meantime while you're building out your niche property. When in reality, if we just focus on that, we'll get there over time. We do have to be patient with it, but we will get there within time. But if we're talking short term, like if my son came to me and said, "Hey, what's a way I can make a quick buck online?" I'd say go to some garage sales, go to some thrift stores, find some stuff in a certain area, whether it's baby carriages or baby strollers or exercise equipment or any of that stuff. And you could do that through your Facebook Marketplace. You can do it locally, but still it's online, or you can then ship it to, or sell it on eBay. You can still sell some of that stuff on Etsy. That's what I would do. Like that's like short term, but it's going to require time. I would eventually not want to have to do that. So yeah. How many articles max per week have you seen your members write on their own? I would say 3 to 4, but typically it's 1. And that's because they're doing it themselves. So what I would do is if you had a little bit of money to invest, I would then invest in having the content written to get it up there quicker, or even pay someone that it could be even a high school kid. I mean, they have to research papers. They can very easily go through this process. And if you're part of Niche Properties, you have a template and you're going to have that. You can actually, share with them how to do it. But I would say typically people are doing 1 to 2 articles per week, which is fine. But you are going to want to scale that up over time. Let's see. Alejandro, yes. When digging for keywords, do you use can and does as most efficient way to find long tail? Yeah, that's a great way of doing it. And I shared that inside of the class. The other way of doing it is starting with your seed keyword and then putting that in Ubersuggest and then just clicking on the questions tab and then letting it tell you. There's another tool out there it gives you a free search or two, which will give you a lot of those ideas. And that is Answer the Public, I believe it is. Let me see. I think it's Answer the Public. Yeah, Answer the Public. So yeah, if you use Answer the Public, you can go ahead and type in a keyword and it'll give you a whole bunch with those added words. So that's a good way to kind of get some ideas. Is it good to add a resource page with affiliate links at what point? Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that until I got traffic, because if no one can get there, then it doesn't really make sense to spend time doing that. When you start getting traffic, that's when I would say, okay, let's put a resource page there. And then that way people that go to the site, they'll want to click there, or you can even interlink to it. Let's see. Scooby Life. This is specifically useful for me as I was originally blogging for myself, but content is informative. I'm using all I've learned in your courses, Coffee Talk and BCA, to get them to improve ranking. That's awesome. Yeah, and it is different, right? Years ago, as a blogger, you would just write what you were doing that day, right? You would just like, oh, today I'm going to make a casserole. Here's what I'm going to put in it. This is my grandmother's recipe. And it worked. People would follow that. That was kind of like their feed. And sometimes they were only 250 words long. But yeah, times have changed. Or just looking at old content, you might have been writing content that was 500 or 600 words, but now we know that we need to write better in-depth content. I say better in-depth doesn't need to mean it needs to be just longer. It needs to be more informative. And that's where those subtitles come in and all of that. And Chris talks a lot about that. And it's really, really powerful to have those subtitles or subtopics. Do you post and then after 2 months, do you go back and interlink the articles with inner and outer links? Well, in the very beginning, we're going to definitely do outer links or, outbound links because that is something that we want to do because it allows Google to see that we're also we're sending outbound links. I would say I wouldn't worry about interlinking in the very beginning, but once you get 10, 15, 20 articles, you will want to start doing that on a regular basis. Another tool that I would grab when the time is right is Link Whisperer by Spencer Hawes. And I'll probably have a resource for that myself because I am an affiliate for it. But that one there is really good because even if you don't do it right now, you can install that and it will allow you to do all of your articles and it will help you do that. You could probably sit down in an hour, and if you had 100 articles, it'll help you interlink and do that stuff without having to go to all of the different posts. It's a pretty cool tool. How secure is the display money? You are not in control of it. Well, you're not in control of anything, right? We're not in control of rent. We're not in control. I mean, that tenant can, not pay me for 3 months, right? Or the Airbnb market can just go down and, there's too many houses on the market. So anything has risk, right? I'm not saying that you're gonna be able to always get a certain RPM, a certain dollar amount per thousand, but from what I've experienced so far, is it can drop when they do adjustments, right? But you have to plan for that. So that's why you're going to go for your average, right? So you might have a month that you do $1,800. You might have a month that you do $800, right? Almost half, or that is half, 1,809. Yeah. So that might happen, but you have to basically use the average of what it is that's making. And so as far as secure goes, it's not like it's going to just disappear unless you have done something negatively, or that you are in a market that they are not willing to display ads, and they won't approve you anyway. So I think the risk is pretty low comparable to other things out there. What percentage would you say the ad money versus affiliate? 90-10? Well, yeah, I mean, it just does depend on what. So if you have a product that you're promoting that's $1,000 and you make 5% on that, that's a good chunk, right? But if you have items that you're recommending that are $10 or $20, it's very, very small. So it does depend on what types of products that you're becoming an affiliate for and that you're promoting and talking about. But I would say the ad money is generally going to be, not always, but it also depends on what the focus is, right? There's some sites that have lower traffic, 20,000 page views, but they heavily go after, products, kayaks, for example, right? There's a site that's doing stuff on all kayaks. Well, if they sell one kayak, that's going to be a good payout, right? So they aren't really focusing on display ads. So I would say it does depend on the market and the niche that you're in. But I would say typically for me, I'm looking at the display ads to be like 75% and 25% affiliate stuff. That's how I would like it to be built. And then I would like to bolt on maybe a digital product from ClickBank. Or maybe it's a private affiliate network that pays me 20%. And then maybe I bolt one of them on, right? So there's other ways to do it. But I would say, like for me, I'm looking at ad revenue. Like I'm trying to build this to get traffic to turn on ad networks that pay between $15 and $20 minimum. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Is there a way to only have ads that are hotels, vacations, rentals, etc.? I don't believe so. And here's the reason why you don't really want that anyway. Because if someone comes on your site and they're looking at their history, in a sense, they're going to start displaying stuff. So if I'm looking at, like recently I was looking at water filters for my Aquasana, right? And then all of a sudden those ads start popping in for me. It's for me, right? Not everyone's going to see that, but Aquasana would have to be in their ad network in order for that to be displayed to me, right? So I don't necessarily think that you would want that, because you want more. You know what I mean? You want more to pick from, or you want more to be able to be displayed. That will increase your RPMs. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. Alejandro, does your writer also look for pictures, or is that someone else? It was someone else, but recently I'm testing out 2 companies, and I shared those inside of the niche properties class, which I'm not going to share outside of that yet because I'm not done testing them. But there's 2 companies I'm working with right now that do a lot of this work for me. I'm paying for it. But yeah, they'll even do the keyword research, which I'm not letting them do that. I want to do my own keyword research. But they're doing the research on the article. They're writing the article very, very in-depthly. They're adding royalty-free images. Then they're uploading it to the WordPress website, and they're somewhat optimizing it. And then what I do is I have someone on my team come back through and finalize it and hit publish. So if you hire someone on like FreeUp or Upwork, you could have them do that, but they're going to charge you more. Or you can just do them yourself, or you can hire someone to just do that work for you for, for a little bit. But I would say in the beginning, even if you just get the bulk of the content done where you just have to get the images, then you just have to go to some of those free royalty free sites and just follow their guidelines. And then you can use those, or take your own pictures. Alejandro, I love you. Last question, Rizzo or Voit for next year? Man, that's a tough one because they are both good. And I'll tell you what, and he's talking about the Yankees, by the way. Rizzo and Voit. I'm going to, as much as I probably don't want to see this happen, they're probably going to let Voit go. I'm going to predict it right here. I don't want to see Voit go. I like the guy. He just had a new baby. He's a hungry guy. But I love Rizzo too as a new addition. So I'm going to say Voigt's going to be gone. And Rizzo will stay. That's what I'm going to say. But I could be wrong. I kind of hope I'm wrong. I hope they both stay, but I don't think that's possible. But we're having a heck of a run right now. Thoughts on relationship niches? I'd have to see more specifics. Okay. Not just on like how to build a better relationship. Who's it for? How to build better relationship for widows, right? How to get back into relationships as widow, as someone that's a widow. It could be, how to, and I'm talking about like, what's the theme of the site or the niche? It's usually going to be people that are struggling in an area that are going to be searching for the stuff. So, how to get my partner to, I don't know, spend more time with me. Right. But then you probably are going to want to see like different verticals in that could fall underneath that. So that's a little bit too broad. We got to get more narrow on that. Let's see. Facebook Lives versus YouTube videos. What has worked better for you? They both have their place. I mean, both of them haven't really worked all that great for me, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm here 3 days a week and, still, we get a handful of people that show up live. We get, probably, 500 to 1,000 people that watch the replays, but it doesn't grow really. It just kind of stays the same, but I'm doing it. I'm trucking along here. But Facebook Lives, I think, are a little bit better for me because then I could also use people that watch or interact as a retargeting audience. And I just think whatever platform you like better. If you're doing it as a content play, I would say YouTube because YouTube's searchable. Facebook, people are not searching for information. They're showing up, they're going to your page, and then they might stumble across it. So I would say if you're doing it for evergreen content, YouTube would be the place. But you could take Facebook Live and then upload it to YouTube. You can do that too. Have you used Pinterest to attract people to YouTube? I have not. I have not done that. If you are building multiple niches, are you diversifying and choosing them in different markets? It's funny that you bring that up because I almost went into another similar niche on this most recent one. And myself and Chris Schaefer decided we're going to break away from that for a little while. Not break away, but we're just not going to add another one into that niche. We're going to go outside of that into a completely different niche. Which is actually going to be a fun experiment too. I'm actually excited about that one. What's up, Helene? Glad to see you. Have a great weekend yourself. What are good strategies to use to grow a Facebook page? I wouldn't focus on growing a Facebook page. That's my first bit of advice. It's the reach is so low. I would build the email list first. That's what I would do. And then if you want to send them to your Facebook page when you do a Facebook Live, great, do that. But I wouldn't focus on building a Facebook page. I'd use it as a vehicle to post content and then send people there or do what I'm doing here and do it live and get people to show up. But I wouldn't use it as a way to grow the Facebook page. If you run Facebook ads to build your email list, you're going to naturally get people that are going to like your page, follow your page. But I wouldn't use Facebook as part of my strategy to grow personally. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up this Friday jam session. What I will do here is remind you, if you have been kind of kicking the tires a little bit or, kind of on the fence about this niche properties thing and you want to jump in, only if you want to jump in, head on over to buildnicheproperties.com. Again, buildnicheproperties.com. That's our brand new training. It's a class. It's a course basically that will walk you through every single thing that you need, from surveying the land, basically picking your niches, validating them, and then from there, getting started as far as building out the website in its entirety. And then from there, adding content, researching the content, doing your keyword research, and then start posting on a regular basis, and then getting on that road to monetization. And then from there, maintaining it. All of that stuff is inside of our niche properties training. Once again, you can get that and you can join that by heading on over to buildnicheproperties.com. All right, guys. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up for this Friday jam session. Thanks so much for being here. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Head on over to, what is it? Coffee. What is my link? I forgot what my link is. Coffee Talk Crew. I forgot what it was. Hold on a minute. I got to find my link. Oh, that's hysterical. I haven't said it in a while. What's my link? I just drew a blank. Oh, that's hysterical. You guys probably know it and you can post it in there for me. Let's see who does it first. Who does it first? Take Action. Oh, no. Take Action Crew. No. What is it? Oh, this is partly embarrassing and partly funny. Let me see if one of you put it in there. Let's see who did it. Maybe I'll send you a shirt. Need coffee. Let me see. It's not in my banners. This is hysterical. All right. Well, hey, maybe it's in there. Let's see. Dopey Coffee Talk. Coffee Crew. All right, guys, that's it. That is officially going to wrap it up. Thank you so much. I guess I need another cup of coffee. So thanks for joining me. I'm going to try to remember what my link was. I forgot it now. Take Action Crew. I think it was takeactioncrew.com. Is that it? Maybe Coffee Talk Crew. I forgot. All right, guys, have an awesome weekend. Get out there, make it happen. And if you do decide to jump in and join us inside of the Niche Properties class, I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Take care, guys. Have an awesome day.